Good evening, everyone. Suro and Disney here for yet another daily vlog, and it is Saturday, and you all know what that means. It's time for Plus and Minus. Now, what we do, if you're new to this video concept, basically Plus and Minus is when I take an existing theme park and I add attractions or get rid of attractions and then replace them with other things in order to make the parks overall better. And there's been a lot of great ones so far. We've gone to Epcot, we've gone to Animal Kingdom, we did Disney's Hollywood Studios, and we've done Universal Studios, and I've also done SeaWorld. But today, we are going the other end of the spectrum. We did Universal Studios. Today, we're going to talk about Universal's Islands of Adventure. And I'm going to be staring upward a lot in this video because I've got a lot to read here, and there's a lot of dialogue that really needs to be put into place. Now, first off, we're going to start, like I always do, with a map of the park. And you can't see the map of the park, but for those of you most likely that are watching this video, you know exactly how Universal Islands of Adventure works out. Basically, there's Port of Entry, there's Seuss Landing, there's the Lost Continent, there's of course the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Toon Lagoon, and Marvel Superhero Island. So, literally, Islands of Adventure. The name isn't just ironic. So, I'm going to go through each land, and I'm going to plus and minus them. Now, Port of Entry is fine. Confisco's is good. It's alright. It's decent. I like the fact that they do the breakfast there, so that works just fine. And Port of Entry, I'm not going to touch. No reason to touch it. No reason to mess with it. Now, we're going to go, usually, we're going to go left to right, and that's exactly what we're going to do this time. But, you know, I have some surprises here. So, we're going to start with Seuss Landing. Seuss Landing, basically, we're going to keep the Carousel, the Cat in the Hat, If I Ran the Zoo, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, the High in the Sky, Seuss Trolley Ride, which I actually rode for the first time. And if you want to see exactly what it's like, feel free to watch that video. It's on this YouTube channel just as quickly as this one's going to be. And, of course, Circus McGurkus Cafe Stupendous. A little redundant, but it works. Now, I'm going to talk about what I want to do with Marvel Superhero Island later on, and I do want to talk about Jurassic Park later on and Harry Potter later on, but right now we're going to focus on Seuss Landing. Now, right now there are a couple things that are on the board for Seuss Landing, and I'm going to take them, not as gospel, but I'm going to take them as a way to do this video, and that's exactly what I want to talk to. Now, first off, they were talking about getting rid of Poseidon's Fury, and that's not a problem. It's something I actually have not yet done at Islands of Adventure. I mean, that and Doctor Doom's Fearfall and Popeye and Bluto's Bilge Rat Barges are the only things I've yet to do at Islands of Adventure. And, of course, Universal Studios is complete, 100%. But I never ran into time to do it, so I'm not able to. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it much longer. I think I'll do it in September. I'm pretty positive I will. That and the Mystic Fountain, because you never know when they might go away. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So first off, Poseidon's Fury, we're going to get rid of it. We'll get rid of the ride. We'll get rid of the experience in general. And we're going to turn it into a dark ride. And I think a great thing to do would be to expand Seuss Landing, which is what they want to do anyway, and do a Grinch-themed coaster. Like if you want to do Mount Crumpet, you could do it that way. And do a Grinch-themed roller coaster, which of course has the prerequisite Jim Carrey auto animatronic, which is what everybody wants. And I think it would work really, really well. It would be a good family coaster for that area. I think it would be not too tall, not too fast, just kind of the right mix, and it would work really well. And it would add another ride to the park, and that's a good thing. It's always a good thing. And not many people go to Poseidon's Fury anymore, and lately it's been down a lot. Like, that's the last couple times I've been to Universal, they were actually down. So I didn't really have the opportunity to experience Poseidon's Fury. So we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to theme it towards the Grinch, and I think it'd work really well. Now, you ask me, Sir Owen, what do we do about Sinbad? Well, as I said, during September, Sinbad is Sinbad. Pun intended. Absolutely horrible. One of the worst experiences I've ever seen. It is literally the worst show in Orlando, without any question. And I hate it very much. And I think what we could do with it, we could theme it. Take away the 8th Voyage of Sinbad and get rid of it completely. and we turned it into a Lorax themed show. And we could make it a very positive message, like about the environment, and it could work really well. Kind of like how SeaWorld does the Sesame Street characters. I think it'd be really good for children to be able to see the Lorax and actually pay attention, not just the cool characters, pay attention also to the message. It's kind of like how the Land Pavilion works at Epcot. Most people don't pay attention to the message, but it's there. Kind of like how WALL-E worked. But I think it'd work really well. And they said, and you also asked me, what do you do about the Mystic Fountain? And why would we want to get rid of it? Well, I want to retheme it. And what I want to do, since I've got the Lorax now taking over Sinbad, I'm going to put the Onceler in a little tower with, you can barely see him, it's kind of like Wilson from Home Improvement, and have him talk to people. You could have like arms out there, and you can do the same thing you do with the Mystic Fountain, but since we've themed it now to this area, Lost Continent's pretty much gone now. Lost Continent, there's only 2 things left in Lost Continent, and I'll bring those up in a minute. That's the Fire Eater's Grill and Mythos. And although Mythos is extremely overrated, it's very popular and still one of theme park reviews top restaurants. So, and they put that over huge. There's a ginormous banner right when you walk near the place. You can actually see it. So we'll keep Mythos as is, and we'll keep the Fire Eater's Grill for now. We can do something with them later. Maybe retheme them, possibly. Mythos, I mean, if anything, you could bring it into like the Jurassic Park area. But, ooh, I gave away something, so we'll get to that in a minute. So basically we have the stunt show area now turns into a Lorax show, which kills 2 birds with 1 stone. It's entertaining for the children, and it also builds a positive environmental message. And then you take the Mystic Fountain and you replace it with a Onceler, and I think it would work really, really well. You can have him be the heel Onceler, or you can have him be kind of like an understanding Onceler. Just kind of depends on who would be there, like teenagers or children or senior citizens. Just really depends. And I think it would work really, really well. So we're going to do that. So I've knocked off a few things right there. Now we're going to go the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. The only thing that you really can do with it, the Frog Choir and the Beauxbatons, that's what it's called. I'm happy with that they got a stage. That's awesome. I'm glad they got a stage. Forbidden Journey is absolutely incredible. It does not need to go anywhere. It doesn't need to change whatsoever. Fly the Hippogriff, great family coaster, works really well. The Spirit Rally, the Beauxbatons, and Durmstrang? Yeah, the students. So that's fine. I like that stage. I think it works really well. And Dragon Challenge is amazing. But I'll get to that in a minute. Hogshead, it's a good pub. I guess you want to call it that in this case. And I love Three Broomsticks. So everything stays as is. Also, Ollivanders once again. And Zonkos and Honeydukes. And all the shops are fine. The only thing I would do, obviously, would be make them a little bit bigger. But I totally understand why they're small. Because they were small in the books. So they wanted to make it small. And it works fine. J.K. Rowling's basically had a lot of conditions, and that was one of them, to make everything as perfect to the books as she possibly could. And that's what Universal did. And that's why it's sometimes very uncomfortable if it's extremely busy in a Zonkos or a Honeydukes. Especially Ollivanders. Ollivanders is tiny. But, oh, by the way, real quick, if you guys are paying attention, if you want to get picked at Ollivanders, this isn't a guarantee, but I think your odds are pretty good. Most cases, it might work, might not, but you can try. And because it worked for us, basically in 2011, celebrating birthday and wearing Universal birthday buttons, and got picked at Ollivanders. And I know people that have tried like 5, 6 times and still didn't get picked. So that might be the key. And not just standing up and looking really energetic and like you really want to be there and you really want to get a wand to choose you. But a birthday button might actually be one of those hidden ways to get picked at Ollivanders. May not work every time, but you can try it and it might work. But anyway, another thing we're going to build real soon is going to be the Hogwarts Express. Now, obviously, when you first walk into Hogsmeade, you see the conductor, who every once in a while is a good friend of mine. And basically, you see like half of the Hogwarts Express, kind of like how the Polar Express is halved at SeaWorld during the holiday season. But that may be eliminated very soon because the Hogwarts Express is going to take visitors from islands to the studios. Because when Diagon Alley and the London area opens, and of course that's where the Gringotts Bank coaster is supposed to be, and all the new shops at Diagon Alley, like at the Weasleys, I know there's a theme shop they're looking at, and there's a couple things they've been talking about, but I mentioned that earlier in the Universal Studios Plus and Minus. So there's actually going to be an area right now they're working on close to Dragon Challenge where the platform would be. Platform would be to lead you to get on the train and go to the other park. Now, I'm not exactly sure, and no one's exactly really sure how admission's going to work out. Now, if you have a one-day ticket to Universal Studios, you can't... Now, you would think you wouldn't be able to just get on the Hogwarts Express, go over to Islands, because technically you don't have a park hop ticket, so you can't do that. So, if you don't have a park-to-park, then you probably can't do that. But I think they might work it out. Maybe they'll be able to pay for it, or you can pay to just take the ride, take the train ride if you want, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty awesome, and I'll tell you right now, it's going to be really beneficial around Halloween Horror Nights time. I think that's actually going to be very beneficial, because that would drop you off right around World Expo, like close to it, like near The Simpsons, and usually that's a spot for the AP event for HHN, so that's actually going to have a dual purpose. And I think that works really well. So that's what I'm doing with Wizarding World. Not really changing it at all. If anything, make it bigger, but can't really do that. Add more butterbeer stations and more frozen butterbeer stations. So, I mean, that's pretty much the end of that part right there. And now we're going to Jurassic Park. Now, I will read my notes here, because it's pretty awesome. Now there's some rumors. I love rumors. Anyway, there's a rumor that they're getting rid of Lost Continent, obviously, because, oh my god, it just needs to go. There's no reason for it to be there. And there's the old Triceratops encounter space that's kind of still there, but not really. They got rid of most of it. And they're talking about plussing Jurassic Park. And here's some of the things that I've been hearing. Little Birdie told me on the internet, and of course if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, that could be coming to an expansion of the Jurassic Park area. Now, supposedly we might have an Amber Mine roller coaster. It's going to be like a family coaster, like a runaway minecart ride through Amber Mines. Should I be whistling right now, maybe? Yeah, I can't whistle, but, 'cause I smell some gimmick infringement right here. I think, something else is going to beat Universal to this experience pretty quick. New Fantasyland's all I gotta say about that. Now, I think it works really well. Now, there's supposed to be a dark ride themed towards the Discovery Center, and it's going to be a slow-moving ride, kind of like an Omnimover, but not quite. Of course, you can't be an Omnimover because Disney owns Omnimover, so you can't really do that. But maybe like a boat ride, possibly, and like talk about the DNA scene from the movie, lab scenes, dinosaur egg hatching, and it looks like a tour through dinosaurs and containment. And, of course, it would unload right next to the Amber Mine Coaster, which is really interesting because, technically, in this sense, it would be like the land. Once again, I'm bringing up the land again. How Soarin' and Living with the Land are very close to each other. So I'm guessing that's pretty much what they're looking for. Now, Camp Jurassic would be a little bit more in-depth. I think it would work really well. They give some upgrades, some more special effects, and some definite live dinosaurs that works really well in Universal in Japan. And the River Adventure, basically you just plus it, you make it more audio animatronic replacements, we can do that. And new special effects, some different things, like take some of the effects that are not used from the different Jurassic Parks all around the Universal Parks and Resorts and add them to the river adventure so we can take the best of everything. Kind of like I did with Indiana Jones at the studios. So that would work. And we have some brand new counter service possibilities, so that'll work. Some food stands, and that's pretty much the end of that piece of business right here. Now the next is Toon Lagoon, and you know, I don't mind Toon Lagoon. As anyone that knows me knows, I am not very happy when I get wet when I'm at a theme park because I don't like walking around all day in wet clothes. The dryers are awesome, but they're $5, and $5 is a whole lot sometimes when you don't have it. And when it comes down to it, sometimes ponchos don't work, i.e. Dudley Do-Right in 2011. But, there's another story about that, too. Got so drenched, we got stuck in the boat, so it was insane. But, didn't get to do Build Wrap Barges because it was closed. And I probably would have that day, because it was really, really hot. Now, Blondie's and the Comic Strip Cafe can stay, and Me Ship, the Olive can stay, and Ripsaw Falls can stay. So, Toon Lagoon by itself is fine. Now we get to more rumors. And apparently, Universal is trying to meet with the Tolkien family to try to negotiate to bring Lord of the Rings to Islands of Adventure. And that's what everybody's thinking right now. It's going to be Islands of Adventure. And it looks like now they've been having people walk around Toon Lagoon, so I'm going to say it's probably going to be Toon Lagoon. But thanks to Screamscape, which is an awesome website, www.screamscape.com, and I think they're on Twitter too, I'm not positive. Apparently there's a ginormous roadblock right now. So, pretty much, to make a long story short, the Saul Zaentz Company owns the worldwide rights to Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit franchises. They filed a new trademark recently for the phrase Middle-Earth. Now what makes this interesting to me, and apparently Screamscape as well, this trademark application was filed on January 22nd. It covers amusement arcades, children's entertainment, and amusement center shows, entertainment services, namely arranging and conducting special events at amusement parks, providing recreation facilities, and providing theme park services. Why would you get a theme park trademark for a property if you do not have legitimate plans to bring it into another property? Because a Lord of the Rings theme park would work without any question. There's a whole lot of people that would be able to make that work. A lot of people didn't think Harry Potter was going to be enough to do when the theme park and the theme park concept was announced by Universal, but it works really well, and it still works really well. Universal may have lost a little bit of attendance, but of course 2013 it's going to bring Transformers and the Simpsons expansion, and it's going to bring people back to Universal and IOA again. Which is awesome because I've been becoming a huge fan of Universal Parks lately. And you know, if I end up getting to go to California somewhere in the next couple years, I don't mean 2015 because that's pretty much already set in stone. The 3 days of Disneyland and California Adventure. If I get a chance to go to California, I do want to go to Universal Hollywood because I definitely want to see how their park operates compared to ours. So why would you file a trademark if you didn't have any intent on using it? Well, like Screamscape said, it is definitely a first real true sign that Middle-Earth is being discussed as a possible theme park project, which would be amazing. So that's pretty much right now how that's going to work. And like I said, Toon Lagoon would be the new area. If they end up doing that, then you get rid of Toon Lagoon as is, and you turn it into the Lord of the Rings area. I have no idea what you would put in the Lord of the Rings area. Maybe walking to the volcano and dropping the ring in, possibly. Hobbits, battle sequences. You know, pretty much the normal stuff. Obviously, you've got 2 water attractions, so you'd have to retheme them or get rid of them. But I can't really see Jurassic Park Water Adventure being the only water attraction at Islands, which is the wettest theme park in Orlando. But I guess Universal will have a lot to discuss with this company that's filed the trademark for Middle-earth. So, we've gone to Jurassic Park, and now we're going to my big finale. Yay! Marvel Superhero Island. Now, I'm sure you guys know this, if you're Disney fans or not, that Marvel Superhero Island at one point was talked about being a DC property. Now, hold on. My battery's going low here, so I'm going to have to charge this. Give me a minute. Sorry. I'm going to plug this in. Good times. Now, this is going to be really fun. Hey, you can see that I'm wearing a Hard Rock shirt now, too. Okay, so, going to be a DC property at one point. Once upon a time, Marvel Superhero Island was originally conceived to be based upon DC Comics, and especially Batman. Now, that would have been completely amazing, because obviously you know how big of a mark I am for Batman. But when it comes down to it, it just was not to be. There is a site on the internet, and I don't have it in front of me, but there's like an 8-page treatment of what would happen for a Universal branded Batman area of Islands of Adventure would be. And it looks phenomenal, but of course, we all know that Six Flags owns the copyrights for Batman. Now think about this for a second, guys. Honestly, there's no Six Flags parks in Florida. So, all Universal would have to do would be get a hold of Six Flags and say, hey, let's use this copyright here where you're not using it in Florida only. And now we can use the DC Comics characters in our parks. Now, right now, we live in a world where Disney bought Marvel. So, basically, Marvel Superhero Island's existence right now is only because Universal's paying Disney. So, that's awesome. But when it comes down to it, eventually, you're going to want to use the characters on this side of the country. Right now, basically the contract says you cannot use the Marvel characters on this side of the country. But doesn't say anything about using them in California Adventure, or using them like Disneyland Paris, or using them in Hong Kong or Tokyo. You can definitely do that, but it'd be really interesting to see what would happen there. So, I'm going to take this plus and minus, and I'm going to say, what if? What if one day Marvel Superhero Island ceases to be? Because Disney wanted the rights 100%, and I totally understand why they would. But this is what I believe would happen, and I'm also going to look on a couple things that I've read on the internet too. I've been looking into this like for the last hour and a half in order to shoot this video for you guys. Now, I'm at a site called visionsfantastic.com, which I've never heard of before. I just found this just Googling. And this guy really has some awesome ideas, and I'm totally going to steal them because they're amazing. Now, this guy's board name is Disney Rules. Yeah, it does. So, I'm going to go ahead and take this. Now, what we do, excuse me, I don't know what you would call it. DC Superhero Island, or DC Hero Island, or obviously, I'd love to say theming Gotham City and Metropolis would work really well, too. So, we could definitely have a Gotham City area. And I'll bring that up in a minute. And we could also have a Metropolis area. And we're going to talk to this right now. Well, this guy basically had some really awesome ideas, and I'm totally going to steal them because they're amazing. Now, basically, what we do is we take the Hulk. Paint it red! Yay, it's now painted red. Tweak it a bit, and you have now themed the Hulk for the Flash. I think it worked really well. Now, I'm gonna keep the last one for last. Now, first off, Doctor Doom's Fearfall, it's gone. We're gonna get rid of it. There's a reason for this, guys, and trust me, you're gonna love it. Now, at Six Flags Magic Mountain, in Valencia, California, there's a ride called Superman Ultimate Escape, if I remember correctly. And what it is, basically, is it's a roller coaster which basically has a launch, kind of like Top Thrill Dragster, and it shoots you all the way up to the top, and there's a ginormous S, obviously, the Superman logo, at the very top, and you see Superman just standing there all heroic. That's what we're going to do. I don't know how it would work with Six Flags, but then again, that's in California, so I think it would work really well. What we do is we bring Superman's Great Escape to Islands of Adventure, and that would replace Doctor Doom's Fearfall. Now, since we have that area right there, we have to move it around to make it work. But then we take Wonder Woman, and we take her and we theme the Storm Force Accelatron, which is one of the hardest things in the world to say over and over again, towards, like, he has it called, like, the Whip Spinner. And that'd be fine. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, like the Golden Lasso or something like that. I mean, honestly, it works really well because you have the Wonder Woman gimmick with the lasso and the truth and all that steez. So, I think we take the Storm Force Accelatron and we theme it towards Wonder Woman. So, that works. Now we have meet and greets with all the various DC Comics superheroes and supervillains, like the Rogues Gallery. That would be amazing. And, I'm saving the best for last, so we'll get to, you know what we're talking about Spider-Man, and I'll get that in a minute. Now, it'd be really, really easy to change Daily Planet to Daily Bugle and switch Spider-Man to Superman. But I like this guy's idea a whole lot better, and I'm totally going to steal it. Now, we have a Batman shop that's basically replaces the Spider-Man one, so that works just fine, like the comics theme shop. There's a DC Comics store, which replaces the Marvel Universe store. There's an all-star comic book shop that replaces the current comic book shop, and I like the idea for Justice League Retail, which replaces, like, the Oakley shop, which doesn't really make any sense to be there anyway. Now, dining, we have, like, we have the Cafe 4 restaurant, and obviously we have Captain America's Diner. And Captain America, we could theme it towards Superman, and All-Star Cafe, you know what? I think we theme it towards Arkham Asylum. And we give the villains, we give the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, Catwoman, Bane, Killer Croc. Insert your favorite Batman heel from this list, or anybody I didn't mention. Obviously, there's a billion of them. So what you do is you do like a Monsters Cafe, but you theme it towards the Rogues Gallery of Batman. This could be like the Gotham City area. And since it's right next to Spider-Man, you know where I'm going with this. Now, like I said, it'd be a whole lot easier to do it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take Spider-Man as a whole, and we're going to maybe, I don't know, raise the building a little bit so it would fit, possibly, and we're going to turn it into Wayne Enterprises. And we're going to do, he has the Adventures of the Dark Knight, and obviously there might be a better name for it, but what it's basically going to be is we're going to take Spider-Man and we're going to theme it towards Batman, and it's going to be awesome. I mean, basically you have Batman, you could have Robin, you could have Nightwing, you could have Batgirl, you Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, like anybody I mentioned in the Rogues Gallery for the Arkham Asylum themed restaurant. You can have people eating like I said, you can have the people serve you in like prison jumpsuits, like Gotham prison jumpsuits, and you can have different face characters like Ra's al Ghul, and you have people talk to the Scarecrow. I mean, it'd work really well. And I think it would be a very good addition to this brand new DC Hero Island. So basically what it is, it's going to be a ride throughout Gotham City, and you're just basically, like with Spider-Man, you're flying around with Spider-Man, and of course this time you'd be riding in the Batmobile. So it's kind of like you stowed away in the Batmobile, and you're there out of nowhere, and like you could have Batman like save Batgirl and Nightwing and Robin. I mean, do whatever you want, and I think it'd work really well because you have all this great heel talent in the Batman comics genre So, what you do is you turn that in and you make Spider-Man into a Batman attraction. It'd be incredible. So, that was fun. That was fun, yes it was. And what we've done, we have maybe replaced Superhero Island with DC Comics. We have brought the Lorax into a newer expansion of Seuss Landing, which got rid of Sinbad and Poseidon's Fury. We have talked about the expansion of Jurassic Park, bringing a brand new mine coaster. Interesting, huh? Brand new mine coaster, some new dark rides, some new experiences to Jurassic Park. We've talked about the train, the Hallworks Express, going from Islands to the studios to go to the new Diagon Alley, the London area. And we've talked about everything in between. I think we did quite a good job with Islands of Adventure. So, I'm going to end it at that. And once again, I hope you guys enjoy Plus and Minus. I'm having a fun time doing these. And I try to put a lot more into them. So, for Epcot and Animal Kingdom not being as long as I'd like them to have been, they were fine. And one more thing real quick. I know there's been some talk about a possible water show at IOA. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think it worked pretty well. Like, you could take the different islands, you can have different theming, and it would work. It would work really well. It's like World of Color, but it'd be themed towards the islands. Like, you can have a DC part, you can have a Jurassic Park part, and you could have, obviously, a Harry Potter part, and it would work really, really well. So, that's going to be the end of this. And next Saturday, Plus and Minus is going to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Now, several years ago, thanks to a man who, thank God, does no longer have any power to do this anymore, named Kevin Lansbury, Disney lost Pleasure Island and replaced it with a bunch of nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know what? We're going to bring the clubs back. And next week, Pleasure Island returns. And until tomorrow, that's all I got to say about that.